Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today about how the peer mentoring program at the University of St. Thomas has sparked a STEM revolution. So, the University of St. Thomas is a small liberal arts college with around 2,000 undergraduate students. We are a Hispanic serving institution with approximately 40% of our undergraduate population being of Hispanic or Latino background. And around 35% of our students are first generation college students, and almost a quarter of our declared majors are STEM majors. So, with the support of an HSI STEM grant, the university was able to create a STEM Success Center, and we think the star of the center is our peer mentoring program. So, our peer mentoring program is focused on introductory and gateway STEM classes. We cover about 25 different courses across the whole STEM disciplines. And how we set up our peer mentoring program is that we partner specific peer mentors with specific faculty members to provide support for that one specific course. So, usually, our faculty members are helping us to identify students who are incredibly successful in their courses and that they want to work with to help improve the success of their future students. Our peer mentors do a variety of different things, but frequently they are going to discuss confusing and challenging topics. They're going to work through practice questions and problem sets with the students, and they're also going to facilitate exam reviews and help the students focus on key topics and concepts that will be covered in their exams. So, our peer mentoring program began in the spring of 2017, and we had just 9 peer mentors in our peer mentoring program because that was what was written into the grant. But with this, we were able to have over 500 total student visits with our peer mentors from 160 different students. As we continued our program, we increased the number of peer mentors to 15 peer mentors in the fall and 28 peer mentors in the spring. And we found that students who are super great students often don't have tons of time to devote to external things. And so we realized that by asking them to only commit to about 3 hours a week, 2 hours of student contact time, that we were able to recruit really great students to be peer mentors. And so we increased our number of peer mentors to still provide support to the courses we are hoping to support. And during this academic year, we had over 1,500 student visits and almost 1,300 student visits in the spring semester. For the next academic year, we had over 23 peer mentors in the fall and 27 peer mentors in the spring, with just over 2,000 total student visits in the fall and over 1,000 in the spring. We often see a decrease in our participation in the spring semester, and I'm not sure if that's just because we have less introductory and gateway courses and sections in the spring, or if some of the support students are receiving in the fall, right, is carrying over into the spring and those students need a little bit less support than they might have needed previously. And for this past academic year, we had record numbers of peer mentors with 36 in the fall and 28 in the spring. We had almost 2,500 student visits in the fall semester and over 1,600 in the spring semester. And this was even with COVID-19. And approximately 700 student visits we had for this spring semester were after spring break, which was when we transitioned to online learning. So students were still utilizing the peer mentoring program even as it transitioned to being an online peer mentoring program. So this shows that some of the small initial successes that our program had created a program of increased student participation. And not only are we seeing increased student participation, but we're seeing that students who participate in the program had increased success in their courses. So what we're showing here is we're comparing students who did not attend any peer mentoring to students who attended 2 or more peer mentoring sessions for a single class from this past fall 2019. So we have different demographics shown across the top here with the number of students that fall into these categories listed in the table. So for the fall semester, we had 335 students who did not participate in any peer mentoring, and 288 who participated in 2 or more peer mentor sessions for a single class. So with this, no peer mentoring is shown here in the red, 2 or more peer mentoring is shown in the gray. We saw about a 10%, so an increase from 65% to 75% in terms of the percentage of students who got A, Bs, or Cs in these STEM classes that we offered peer mentoring. So this does not include C minuses because most of our introductory and gateway courses require a grade of better than a C minus to progress on to the next level. And this trend held through most of the demographics we looked looked at. So about 10% increase for our students who are Pell eligible, about a 5% increase for our Black or African American students, about a 12% increase for our white students, about a 3% increase for our Asian students, and about a 15% increase for our Hispanic students. Not only are we seeing increased success in the specific courses that are being or that have peer mentoring associated with them, but we also saw that students who participated in peer mentoring have an increased year one cumulative GPA. So this data is showing our fall 2018 cohort, and we're comparing students that did not participate in any peer mentoring compared to students who participated in peer mentoring by attending 2 peer mentoring sessions in both the fall and the spring semester. And so what we see is for students who did not attend any peer mentoring, they had about a 2.66 cumulative year one GPA, which is between a C plus and a B minus. And for students who did participate in our peer mentoring program, they had about a 3.2 cumulative GPA, which is between a B and B plus. So about a half a point average increase for students who are participating in our program. Not only are we increasing academic success, but we're also improving our first year retention rates for students who are participating in peer mentoring. So this data is set up very similar to the last slide that I showed you. Instead, we're looking at retention rates. So for students who did not attend any peer mentoring, they had about or 75% or 74% of them came back the following year. But for students who did participate in peer mentoring, 96% of them came back the following year. So we saw over a 20% increase in our year one retention rates for students who were participating in peer mentoring. So with this data, we hope that we showed you that some small initial successes can really lead to big gains. We also, by sharing these successes with our faculty, staff, and students, had increased campus buy-in right across the board. And this led to some interesting things happening in the fall where some of our faculty gave extra credit for going to peer mentoring or required attendance to a couple of peer mentoring sessions before their first exams. However, most of our faculty did not provide incentives for going to peer mentoring, and we still saw that on average, students went to 5 peer mentoring sessions for a single class in a semester. And so with this, we have really created a culture of utilizing the peer mentoring support services. So again, this fall, we had students knocking down our doors that first week of school, trying to figure out who their peer mentors were, when they were holding sessions, how to get in touch with them, because they really wanted to make sure that they were planning in the use of these support services and taking advantage of all the resources that were available to them to help improve their success as a student. And so with this, we have shown you that our peer mentoring program has really been a catalyst for a STEM revolution at the University of St. Thomas.